Joining us now is the woman herself, New York Times senior political reporter Maggie Haberman. The disregard with which he treated these documents and the disorganization, too, I think it would be shocking to most people on the outside. Was it shocking to you? I mean, it's sort of, when you look at the toilet filled with documents, how can any of it be surprising? But has any of the actions that he apparently undertook, has any of that surprised you?
What surprised me was the volume of material that he had. That continues to really stun me about this story is, you know, in that first tranche of boxes that he returned to the National Archives, they discovered that there were 184 classified documents. Actually, I'm not sure if it was they discovered or DOJ discovered, but it was discovered that there were 184 individual classified documents, which comprised, I think, more than 700 pages.
Yeah.
And then that wasn't it. Then there were more that they retrieved in response to a subpoena in June. That subpoena was issued in May for remaining classified material. Trump's lawyer signed an attestation saying, yep, that's it. We've given back all the documents with classified markings. And then, of course, we found out after an August 8th search that, in fact, there were many, many other documents. And so the volume...
Yeah, like 11,000 documents.
There were 11,000 pages, and there were more than 100 additional individual documents with classified markings.
Right.
And remember, each of those documents can have several pages. So that was really surprising to me.
Yeah.
And continues to be surprising.
Right. It's not just Kim Jong-un's love letter. It's not Shaquille O'Neal's shoe. It's not the various mementos that he liked to wave around and talk about. It's like a massive amount of paper that he has squirreled away, which sort of implies some intentionality in all of this. But I wonder if one can even draw those conclusions.
Well, you know, one of the things that was striking about this, Alex, was that in those boxes, it was all jumbled together. And the DOJ has talked about this. There were news clips, right, in with, you know, confidential material and
shoes,
right,
razor blades,
other
umbrellas,
all sorts of other material. And so one of the things about him, and this is an effect he had in the White House, it's an effect he's had on our political culture, he has this flattening effect where everything is kind of the same and contextless. And I write about this in the book. That is what this reminds me of with these documents. It's all the same. These classified material, they're the same as these news clips about my time as president and my razors and my golf balls and my, you know, I think there was a raincoat, I was told, in one of the boxes.
Yes.
And so this is of a piece with who he is, but it's a reminder that things that other people consider sacred, he doesn't.
Yeah, and that the rules don't apply to him. I want to read another excerpt from his book that has been from your book that has been less discussed, which is the degree to which he was making an end run around the sort of checks and balances or checks that exist, especially when it concerns classified information and national secrets, right? On more than one occasion, when Trump agreed to relinquish his personal phone, he managed to acquire another. Advisors believed he had sent a staffer who had worked for him prior to the presidency to buy one at a store without any of the standard security precautions. At one point, Trump left his phone in a golf cart at his New Jersey club. A senior White House lawyer's notes documenting the frantic search for the misplaced phone for 6 hours specify that it was not our phone, apparently meaning it was not a government-issued device. So it sounds like Trump sent someone to, like, Verizon to get a phone for him so that he could make calls that were kind of unmonitored and then promptly loses it.
He was very keen on keeping his own phone, and kudos to my former colleague, Alex Burns, who was actually the first person to hear that there was some issue with a phone in a golf cart, which we initially reported that detail a couple of years ago, but there's some new reporting here related to it. You know, aides were a little stunned that he would suddenly have another phone after they had gotten him to have one away. And it was, I think, not just that he, you know, didn't want people knowing what he was doing. He didn't trust the government. I think one of the fascinating things about the Donald Trump presidency, and I explore this, is just the deep level of paranoia and what that meant for somebody who was overseeing this apparatus that he didn't trust.
He didn't trust the government, and the government didn't trust him.
That's
because
right.
At the end of his presidency, we're talking about someone, I mean, we read it in the introduction to this segment. Like, John Kelly doesn't believe that Trump can have access to these documents. They start taking away classified briefings so that he can't squirrel them away into a shoebox in the Oval Office. I mean, that's a staggering development. We know that there's always been this institutional deep state desire to protect Trump from himself, but the degree to which they really didn't trust him with anything, it sounds like.
No, this is an ongoing issue with the classified material where he would sometimes, and my colleagues and I actually wrote about this recently, you know, he would ask to keep stuff and they weren't really sure why or what it meant, and they would try to get things back. But for the most part, they felt as if you can't say no to the president of the United States, and he is the president, and he wanted it. Now, his argument would be, and his aides or the people closest to him now would say he had a reason not to trust the government. Look what happened in various investigations, and it would go on and on that way. And whatever value those complaints have, it has nothing to do with why he wanted this classified information.
Right.
This was not all about the Mueller investigation. This was not all about Crossfire Hurricane and the origins of the Russia probe. This was about all manner of other issues, according to our reporting, and it's still not clear why he picked certain things and why he haven't.